What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be bantering about the X factors, the difference makers for the American League West division. So before I get into my list, I want to hear from you. Let me know who are the X factors, the game changers for each team in the American League West division. Now, as we get into my list, we're going to begin in alphabetical order with the Houston Astros. Now, when it comes to the Houston Astros, Jeremy Pena is the difference maker. He is the X factor, in my opinion. Now, the reason I say that is I think that when you look at the way that this team is built out, Pena made a huge difference. Yes, he started off a little rocky in 2022, but really came into his own as the season progressed, leading all the way to an American League Championship Series MVP and a World Series MVP. I think that when you look at what this player is capable of doing for this Houston Astros team, he is just providing a different feel, a different look to the squad. There was a lot of questions as to how Houston was going to be able to rebound after losing Carlos Correa. That is no longer a question, as Jeremy Pena is a difference maker. Now, as we get into the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, the X factor is Mike Trout, and more specifically, Mike Trout's health. That, to me, is really going to be the biggest factor of whether or not the Angels are going to even remotely have a chance in 2023. I think that for the Angels, Mike Trout's health is the biggest key factor for their season as a whole, for their chances of retaining Shohei Ohtani. There's a whole lot riding on the health and stability of Mike Trout. When Trout is healthy, this is the best player we have ever seen in baseball, without question. Period. End sentence. Full stop. Mike Trout is the best player we have ever seen, but we have to qualify it now, as over the last several seasons, he has not been healthy. And because of that, he has started to regress towards the pack. To me, this is a guy who, if he can prove that he is healthy, is going to get right back into that upper echelon of Major League Baseball tier qualifications, elite level status. And this is a guy who changes the course of the Angels season. Now, yes, there's a lot riding on it for the Angels this coming 2023 season, and part of that is going to be on the health of Mike Trout. Now, as we look at the Oakland Athletics, Shea Langoliers, to me, is the difference maker. Now, there's not a lot that's going to go well for the Oakland A's in 2023. Let's be very clear about that right now. But Langoliers was the guy who was the key aspect, the key prospect, the key trade piece back in the Matt Olson deal for the Braves and the A's. I think that when you look at what Shea is going to provide the A's this upcoming season, there's going to be a lot of having to prove what he is worth, what he is capable of doing. There are going to be pieces in this A's organization, and they're very few and far between, but Langoliers is going to be the guy who they're going to start to try to build around, because he was the focal point of that trade with the Braves for Matt Olson. I think that there's going to be a lot of eyes on him in that Oakland lineup. I don't necessarily know exactly how well that Oakland lineup is going to fare. This may end up being one of the worst teams we ever see in Major League Baseball. But for Oakland, this is going to be the guy that they're going to start to try to do something around, as this was the key piece and once a top prospect in baseball. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And for that reason, he is the X factor for the A's. Now, as we look at the Seattle Mariners, to me, their X factor is Teoscar Hernandez. When Teoscar was acquired, it was kind of a surprise move, more so surprising for the Blue Jays, as this was a very good player in their lineup. And I think that moving to Seattle is going to be another potent bat right in the middle of that order, somebody to protect J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez. When you look at what Hernandez can provide the M's, this is going to be a guy who's consistent in the middle of that order. This isn't going to be a guy who's going to be confused with a Gold Glove defender, but you really don't necessarily need that when you factor in how offensively positive this player is for that M's lineup. I think that this is a guy who they are going to try to help kind of cement in the middle of their order. For me, how he goes in terms of his success is going to directly affect how successful the rest of that Mariners lineup is. I think that he's going to provide the protection for Julio Rodriguez, and in a way provide protection for the entire Mariners lineup and their franchise going forward. To me, this was a very underrated acquisition of the offseason, and it's going to have major lasting effects in 2023. And therefore, Teoscar Hernandez is the Mariners' X factor. And as we round out with the Texas Rangers, their X factor is Jacob deGrom. When you look at what this player can be, we've seen it with the Mets. Jacob can be the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, but it requires him being healthy. And similar to Mike Trout, he has not been healthy over the past couple of seasons. So with that, what Jacob deGrom are we getting? Is he going to be a guy who has no limitations, no restrictions, or is this going to be a guy who is going to be limited because of the fact he hasn't pitched over the past couple of seasons? If deGrom can prove that he is healthy, this is the frontline ace that the Rangers are trying to build around. They have revamped their entire starting rotation after having done some different things with their middle order, their lineup and their middle infield over the last couple of seasons. This is going to be a very different team in 2023. But to me, it all starts with Jacob deGrom at the top of that rotation. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know, who are the X factors for each team in the American League West? Let me know that down in the comments, or you can find me over on Twitter at banter_baseball, where we can keep the conversation rolling. If you want to show more support for us here, head over to our social media channels. As I said, Twitter, banter_baseball, or you can find us on our Instagram and TikTok pages at Baseball Banter Broadcast. If you want to show more support, head over to laracuenteledger.com, our blog site, where we put up new articles daily in the world of Major League Baseball, as well as many other things. And if you want to show even more support for us here, head over to baseballbanterbroadcast.com. It is our merchandise shop, and we have a ton of promo codes you can use to save on your Banter merch. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, smash that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications, as over 95% of our audience is not subscribed to this channel. So we are trying to continue growing this baseball community, this baseball family, and you hitting that subscribe button helps us continue to do that. So I want to thank you guys. If you love the world of Major League Baseball, the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys on the next broadcast when we banter about baseball. Peace.